Aaron felt the cold before he felt anything else. It touched his skin like thin ice. Then came the light. It was white and too bright. His eyes opened slowly, and the world above him was smooth and shining. The ceiling had no lines, no cracks, no corners. It looked like a piece of the sky trapped inside a room. He tried to move his hands, but something soft and firm held his wrists in place. He turned his head. The air smelled clean and strange, like metal after rain. He did not remember where he was. The last thing he remembered was fire. Fire and silence in space. His ship had exploded. His heart began to beat faster. Shapes moved around him. Tall shapes, thin shapes. Not human. They were standing near a long silver table filled with floating screens. Their skin looked smooth and pale, almost silver under the bright light. Their eyes were large and calm. They wore simple white garments that wrapped around their bodies without seams. One of them stepped closer to his bed. She was taller than the others. Her face was narrow, and her eyes glowed faint blue. There was no anger in her face, but there was no warmth either. She studied him like he was a strange object found in deep space. Her name, though he did not know it yet, was Lyra. A small device floated beside her hand. It moved over his chest and made a soft humming sound. Lines of light appeared in the air, showing his heartbeat and breathing. She watched the lights carefully. Aaron swallowed. His throat was dry. He tried to speak, but only a rough sound came out. Lyra tilted her head slightly. She pressed something on her wrist. A thin needle slid from the side of the bed and touched his arm. Warm liquid entered his body. His throat felt better almost at once. He coughed softly. "Am I dead?" he asked in a weak voice. None of the aliens answered. They looked at each other instead. Aaron forced a small smile. Fear was rising inside him, but he had learned long ago that fear grows stronger in silence. On the battlefield above Mars, he had joked with his crew even when enemy ships surrounded them. He turned his head back toward the tall nurse. She was staring directly into his eyes now. Her stare was sharp, cold. He did not understand it, but he understood tension. The room felt tight, so he did the one thing he always did when someone looked too serious. He smiled wider. Then he lifted his hand slowly, even though it was still weak, and blew her a kiss. The motion was small and playful. The reaction was not. The humming devices stopped. The floating screens flickered. Every alien in the room froze. Lyra's glowing blue eyes widened, just a little. A faint light inside them became brighter. The air felt heavier. Aaron lowered his hand slowly. "Okay," he said softly. Maybe that was too much. A sharp sound came from one of the other aliens. It sounded like a warning. Lyra stepped back from the bed. Her face changed. It was not fear. It was not confusion. It was something deeper. Something serious. She spoke in her language. Her voice was calm but firm. The door at the far end of the room opened at once. 2 tall guards entered. Their armor was dark gray and smooth. They carried long weapons that glowed faint red at the tips. Aaron felt his heart slam against his ribs. "Wait," he said quickly. "I was joking." It was a joke. The guards did not react. They moved to both sides of the bed. The soft restraints around his wrists unlocked, but strong hands held his arms before he could move. Lyra watched without blinking. "Where are you taking me?" Aaron asked. She answered him this time. Her voice was clear and steady. "You have committed an action of declaration." "A declaration of what?" he asked. She did not respond. The guards lifted him from the bed. His legs felt weak, but they forced him to stand. The floor beneath his feet was smooth and cold. He looked around the room again, trying to understand. The other aliens were whispering now. Their eyes followed him with a mix of shock and something else he could not name. The guards guided him out of the medical chamber. The hallway beyond was long and curved. The walls glowed softly, like moonlight trapped inside glass. Strange symbols moved along the walls in slow patterns. Aaron's mind raced. Declaration. What kind of declaration? He had not threatened anyone. He had not insulted them. He had only blown a kiss. They stopped in front of a round door. It opened silently. Inside was a smaller room with no windows. The walls were darker here. The guards pushed him inside. The door closed behind him with a deep sound. He was alone. Aaron walked slowly around the room. There was no furniture. No bed. Just smooth walls and a faint blue light from above. He leaned against the wall and tried to breathe calmly. Think. He was alive. That meant they did not want him dead. Not yet. He remembered the battle clearly now. Human ships had responded to a strange signal near Mars orbit. The signal had come from an unknown alien vessel. No one knew if it was friendly or hostile. Then more ships appeared. Not human. Silver ships. There had been confusion. Weapons had powered up on both sides. A single mistake had turned into a full battle. His fighter had taken heavy damage. Last thing he saw was the explosion of his own engine. And now he was here, captured. He did not know which. A soft sound came from the wall in front of him. A panel slid open. Lyra stepped inside alone. The door closed again. They stood facing each other. Up close, he could see small lines of light moving beneath her skin like slow lightning. "You understand our language," she said. "Looks like it," he replied. "Guess your tech is better than ours." She ignored the comment. "Why did you perform that gesture?" she asked. He blinked. "The kiss?" "Yes," he shrugged lightly. "Where I come from, it means many things. A joke, a friendly sign, sometimes flirting, sometimes just being playful." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "You directed it at me." "Yeah, you looked like you needed a smile." The room grew quiet again. "On this station," she said slowly, "such a gesture is not playful." He felt a small chill. "Then what is it?" "It is a formal signal." "Of what?" She hesitated for the first time. "Of personal claim." Aaron stared at her. "Claim? Like ownership? Like challenge? Or bond?" "It is complex." His mouth opened slightly. "You're telling me I accidentally proposed?" Her expression did not change, but the faint blue light in her eyes flickered. "You initiated a public declaration in front of witnesses." He rubbed his face with both hands. "You've got to be kidding me." "I do not joke," she replied. He began to laugh softly, but the laugh faded quickly when he saw she was serious. "So what happens now?" he asked. "The council will decide," she said. "Decide what?" "If your action was insult, or threat, or binding request." He felt the weight of the situation finally sink into his chest. "And what do you think it was?" he asked quietly. She looked at him for a long moment. "I believe," she said, "that you did not understand our customs." "That's the smartest thing I've heard all day," he said. "But belief is not proof," she added. Before he could respond, the wall behind her lit up. A symbol flashed in red. Her eyes shifted toward it. "The council summons you," she said. The door opened again. The guards returned. Aaron took a slow breath. "If I survive this," he said lightly, "I promise no more kisses." For the first time, something changed in her face. Not anger. Not coldness. Something softer. But it disappeared quickly. The guards led him out once more, deeper into the station. He did not know that his small human joke had already begun a larger debate among the alien leaders. Some believed humans were too emotional to trust. Others believed emotion might be their greatest strength. As he walked down the glowing hallway, surrounded by silent guards and watched by hidden eyes, Aaron finally understood one thing clearly. He was no longer just a survivor of a battle. He was now the center of something much bigger. And all because he blew a simple kiss. Aaron was moved to a new room. It was smaller, darker, and quieter than the first. The walls glowed faintly with a soft blue light, and the air felt thicker. He was not restrained anymore, but guards stayed near the door, their weapons close at hand. They did not speak, only watched. He sat on the smooth floor, rubbing his arms to warm them. The events from the first chamber replayed in his mind. One small gesture, a simple kiss, had caused chaos. And now the council would decide his fate. He did not know if that meant death, imprisonment, or something else entirely. A soft sound echoed from the wall. A panel slid open. An alien stepped inside. He was older than Lyra, shorter, and his skin had a faint golden glow. His eyes were dark and calm. His movements were precise, like a machine tuned to perfection. This was Dr. Varro, the chief scientist of the station. Varro studied Aaron with careful attention. He walked slowly around him, observing, touching the walls lightly, reading data from panels that only he could see. Finally, he spoke in a low voice, using the universal translator. "Human physiology is simpler than we expected, yet resilient. Your pulse is steady, but your mind shows extreme stress." Aaron frowned. "Thanks, I think. Can I ask why I'm here instead of, the usual alien punishment?" Varro did not answer directly. Instead, he walked to the corner and activated a floating screen. Images of Earth, human ships, and battle records appeared. Aaron recognized his destroyed fighter among the debris. "We have been observing humans," Varro said. Your species is considered unpredictable, dangerous, but also capable. Your small gesture earlier, although inappropriate by our customs, revealed an aspect we had not fully understood. Aaron tilted his head. So my joke might have saved me? Varro's lips pressed together. Possibly. It shows emotional response. Emotional courage. That is rare among species we have studied. Aaron rubbed his forehead. He was not sure whether to be proud or scared. The door opened suddenly. Lyra stepped inside. This time she carried a small tablet of glowing light. She did not look at him. She only handed it to Varro and then moved to stand silently in the corner. Varro glanced at the tablet and nodded. Your records will now be updated. Stable, not volatile. That is due to the nurse's intervention. Aaron looked at Lyra. You did that for me? She did not answer. She only stared at the floor and then back at him, still calm but distant. The door opened again. This time, a human appeared. His face was familiar but not from the battlefield. Jace, a cargo pilot from Earth, had also been captured by the aliens. His eyes widened when he saw Aaron. Aaron! I thought you were dead, Jace said, rushing forward before the guards held him back. Aaron smiled weakly. I'm alive. Barely. What about you? Jace shook his head. Same. We were both lucky, or unlucky depending on how you see it. The aliens want to examine us. Varro gestured to Jace to stop. Human history and behavior must be observed before the council decides your fate. Aaron studied him. Fate? That sounds serious. Varro nodded. It is. Humans are considered too unstable for entry into the Galactic Alliance. Your species' emotional expressions are unpredictable. Your small act earlier could have started a chain of events none of you understand. Aaron swallowed. You mean the kiss? Varro tilted his head. Yes. It may have been playful, but it was observed as a formal action by your customs. Aaron rubbed his arm. So now I'm a formal declaration? Lyra finally spoke. Her voice was soft, careful. Not declaration alone. You are tested to see if your species can be trusted. Jace raised his eyebrows. Observed? Like a pet? More than that? Lyra said. You are part of a living experiment, one that could determine the future of your species in the galaxy. Aaron felt a chill. He looked at her, then at Varro. And if we fail? Varro's eyes darkened. Failure is not just personal. It affects your species' standing in the galaxy. The room went quiet. Only the soft hum of the walls and the distant movement of other aliens could be heard. Aaron realized he could not afford jokes now. Not really. He looked at Lyra again. She still had not smiled, but there was something in her gaze that was not anger. Respect, maybe, or understanding. He could not tell. Days passed. Aaron and Jace were moved to a large observation hall. Humans were rare on this station. The hall was filled with other alien beings, all observing, all silent. Varro explained the rules carefully. Humans were not allowed to interfere, only to respond to tests. The tests would measure strength, logic, emotional intelligence, and loyalty. Aaron tried to remain calm. He trained with Jace, running through simulated exercises, learning alien technology, and practicing communication. Lyra occasionally appeared, always cold, always distant, but sometimes she left small tools or messages for him to make tasks easier. He noticed, but did not ask why. One night, after a long session, Callan appeared. A young alien guard, smaller than most, with soft gray eyes and a curious smile. You are strange, Callan said in the quiet hall. Humans act with loyalty even when logic says to flee. Aaron laughed softly. That is what humans do. Sometimes stubbornness is our strongest weapon. Callan tilted his head. Your stubbornness is dangerous, but it is also admirable. Aaron smiled at the guard. Thanks. That's the first compliment I've received from an alien. Callan nodded. I do not speak often, but I watch. You may survive this test yet. Aaron's mind raced. He realized he was not just being judged. He was being protected in some strange way. Lyra and Callan both watched him, in silence, keeping him safe from harsher scrutiny. But why? The next day, alarms sounded. Red lights flashed. The station shook slightly. An unknown fleet approached. Not human. Not friendly. Raiders, the aliens called them. They attacked without warning. Chaos spread quickly. Alarms screamed, lights flickered, and the observation hall emptied. Aaron ran instinctively looking for Jace. They found each other trapped under debris and helped each other free. Lyra was caught in the medical wing. 2 raiders cornered her. She moved fast but was outnumbered. Aaron did the only thing he could do. He charged with a metal rod found nearby. He swung at the raiders, surprising everyone, including Lyra. His actions were reckless, but they worked. The raiders fled after a brief fight. The station was damaged. Many systems were offline. The council would be forced to act, but not yet. Survival came first. Aaron looked at Lyra, blood on his hands and clothes. She studied him, eyes wide. For the first time, her expression softened. Not a smile, but recognition. He had fought for her life, without orders, without logic, only instinct. Varro appeared on a floating screen, voice calm but urgent. Human courage is unexpected. Your species' loyalty and instinct may be their greatest strength. Aaron smiled faintly. I guess my joke wasn't completely useless. Lyra said nothing, only looked at him, and the faintest flicker of understanding passed over her face. Outside, the raiders regrouped. Inside, humans and aliens alike realized that the tests were no longer just observation. Now, they were fighting for survival. The station still shook from the raider attack. Alarms echoed through the long, curved corridors, and red lights flashed in warning. Aaron ran alongside Jace, trying to reach the command deck. He had learned quickly that staying in one place was dangerous. The raiders were swift and organized, like a single living mind spread across many ships. Kalen, the young alien guard who had spoken to him before, met them at a corner. This way, he said, moving quickly and silently. The raiders are here, but not all paths are blocked. Follow me closely. Aaron noticed that Kalen seemed calm, despite the chaos. His eyes moved constantly, scanning every shadow. Aaron realized that while he relied on instinct, Kalen relied on observation. Together, they made a careful, dangerous team. They reached a junction. Jace paused. Which way? He asked. Kalen pointed to a vent system partially open. Through there. Faster than walking, fewer enemies. The vent was tight. Aaron barely squeezed through. Jace groaned as he followed. Kalen was already ahead, moving like a shadow, silent and precise. Finally, they dropped into a lower corridor near the medical wing. There, they saw Lyra cornered by two raiders. She moved quickly, her staff glowing faint blue. She struck one raider, sending him backward, but the second came at her with a weapon that pulsed red light. Aaron felt a rush of fear. He had no weapons, no armor, only a metal rod he picked up from the floor. But instinct took over. He ran straight at the raider, swinging the rod with all his strength. The raider stumbled back, surprised by the human's courage. Lyra did not stop. She struck again, precise and deadly. Together, Aaron and Lyra managed to defeat the attackers. The room was silent, except for the labored breathing of those still standing. Aaron looked at her, blood on his hands, clothes torn. Lyra's eyes studied him, wide but not angry. There was something unspoken passing between them. Respect, perhaps, or acknowledgement that he had risked everything for her. They moved quickly toward the command deck. The station's central systems were failing. Lights flickered, doors locked and unlocked on their own, and alarms blared continuously. Varro's voice came through the station intercom. All personnel must evacuate non-essential areas. Raiders are boarding at multiple points. Stability of the station is compromised. Aaron glanced at Jace. We have to help. We can't just run. Jace hesitated. We're humans, not soldiers here. We're survivors, Aaron corrected. And survivors help others. They reached the command deck. The alien council had been convening, observing the battle from their floating platforms. Aaron and Jace moved behind the alien officers, who did not stop them. Lyra stayed close, her staff glowing faintly. The council debated quickly in low tones. Some argued that humans should be sent to the lower decks for safety. Others argued that humans' unpredictable courage had saved lives and might be key to saving the station. Varro appeared on the screen. Human decisions, though risky, have shown potential. We must utilize their instincts to stabilize the station. Aaron felt a sudden weight of responsibility. The controls in front of him were alien, glowing with symbols he barely understood. The reactor core was unstable. One wrong move, and the station could explode. Lyra stepped beside him. You must trust instinct, she said softly. Logic will not save this. Only choice made from the heart. Aaron took a deep breath. He remembered the battlefield, the explosions, the fear, and he remembered the moments he had chosen to act, not because it was safe, but because it was right. He reached out to the controls. Symbols glowed under his touch. Lights flickered. Alarms screamed, but he focused. Each choice was a gamble. Each adjustment might stabilize the reactor or trigger disaster. Meanwhile, Kalen and other alien guards fought raiders in nearby corridors. Explosions shook the walls. The station groaned under the pressure of damaged engines and breached walls. Aaron ignored the chaos. He focused on the symbols, trusting instinct more than understanding. Sweat ran down his face. His hands trembled. The reactor core pulsed dangerously, light brightening and dimming in irregular patterns. Lyra guided him quietly. Now, move the second dial. Yes. Aaron obeyed. He could hear the faint hum of energy stabilizing. The reactor core's glow steadied slightly. He felt hope, but not relief. One small mistake and everything could collapse. Hours seemed to pass in moments. Finally, the reactor began to stabilize. The pulsing light steadied. Alarms quieted. The station's systems began to hum normally again. Aaron slumped to the floor, exhausted. Jace collapsed beside him, breathing heavily. Lyra stood over them. For the first time, her expression softened. Not a smile, but acknowledgement. She extended her hand, and Aaron took it, shaking slightly. Varro appeared on the screen again. Human instincts have proven vital. Your species may have a place among us after all. Aaron looked around. The station was battered, some systems offline, but the worst had been avoided. Humans and aliens had survived together, and for the first time Aaron felt that small gestures, courage, and loyalty mattered more than rules and customs. The raiders had retreated for now, but Aaron knew this was only a temporary victory. Somewhere in space, the unknown threat still watched, still waited, and somewhere deep inside he realized humans had something the galaxy had never truly expected. Heart. Lyra remained beside him. You risked much today, she said softly. Perhaps more than you know. Aaron gave a faint smile. Guess I'm learning that sometimes the heart is stronger than the mind. The station continued to hum with life. Survivors worked quickly to repair systems and tend to the wounded. Arn and Jace joined them, realizing that survival was not just personal, it was collective. Together, humans and aliens had faced something unimaginable and lived. Even as he worked, Aaron could not shake a thought. Somewhere beyond the station, new dangers would come, and when they did, humans would have to act. Instinct first, heart always. He glanced at Lyra. Her eyes were calm, bright, and observing. For the first time, he understood a little about the alien mind, and he realized that she, like him, had the courage to act, even when the outcome was unknown. The station might survive today, but tomorrow, the true tests would begin. Aaron felt ready, not because he understood the aliens, the station, or the raiders, but because he had learned something essential. Bravery and loyalty could shape the fate of worlds. The station was quiet for the first time in what felt like hours. Lights flickered softly, and the hum of the remaining systems was steady. Aaron, Jace, and Kalen moved through the corridors cautiously. The raiders had retreated, but their ships still lingered in orbit. It was only a matter of time before they returned. Aaron's body ached. His hands were bruised, his clothes torn, and his breathing was heavy. Yet he felt alive in a way he had not felt in years. Survival had never been this complicated or this meaningful. Lyra appeared at the end of the corridor, staff glowing faint blue. Her eyes studied him, calm but intense. Aaron walked toward her slowly. We need to check the rest of the station, he said. There could be raiders hiding. She nodded. Follow me. We must secure the lower decks. The lower decks were dark, long corridors lined with machinery and storage rooms. Broken lights flickered intermittently, casting shadows that danced along the walls. The air smelled faintly of smoke and metal. Aaron led the way with a metal rod in hand, ready to defend against any sudden attack. In one of the storage rooms, they found a group of aliens trapped under debris. Some were injured. Kalen helped free them while Aaron and Jace lifted heavy panels. The aliens watched in disbelief as humans risked their lives for beings they barely understood. Once the trapped crew were free, Lyra guided them to a safer area. We must repair the communication system, she said. The Council cannot make informed decisions if they cannot communicate with the fleet. Aaron and Jace worked alongside the alien engineers. Tools floated beside them, guided by alien technology. Aaron quickly learned how to adjust power flows, stabilize circuits, and reroute energy. His military training gave him an edge. Logic and instinct combined to keep the systems alive. Hours passed. Sweat poured from his brow. The station groaned under its own weight, damaged but holding. Lyra observed quietly, stepping in only when necessary. Her calm presence reminded him that fear did not have to control every decision. Suddenly, a warning signal blared. The raiders had returned. Multiple ships descended from orbit, firing beams that struck the station's outer hull. Explosions rocked the corridors, throwing debris everywhere. Aaron grabbed Jace's arm. "We need to reach the command deck." Kalen led the way, avoiding falling panels and sparks. Lyra followed, staff glowing brighter, illuminating the path. They reached the command deck, where the council had gathered on floating platforms. The aliens debated fiercely. Some wanted to abandon the station, retreat to safer grounds. Others argued that humans' bravery had proven their worth. Varro appeared on a screen, voice calm but urgent. "We must utilize all available resources, including human instincts, to defend the station." Aaron looked at Lyra. "Ready to fight?" he asked. She nodded, eyes focused. "We fight together, instinct and logic combined." The station's defense systems were partially repaired. Automated turrets powered up, beams of energy scanning the approaching raiders. Aaron, Jace, and Kalen joined the operation, adjusting controls, directing energy flows, and coordinating fire. Aaron's heart pounded. He could see the raiders' ships reflecting the station's energy beams. Some were destroyed immediately, others dodged and fired back. The corridor shook with every hit. Alarms screamed in tandem with the station's damaged hull. Lyra moved swiftly between control stations, guiding Aaron and Jace. Her instructions were precise, cutting through chaos. Aaron adjusted energy outputs, redirected power to shields, and fired countermeasures at incoming raiders. Jace moved beside him, eyes wide but determined. "I can't believe this is happening," he shouted over the alarms. Aaron grinned despite the chaos. "Welcome to space survival. It's messier than training drills." Suddenly, a massive beam hit the station near the reactor core. The floor shook violently. Lights went out in sections. Smoke and sparks filled the air. Lyra's voice was calm but firm. "Reactor is unstable. Someone must enter the core to stabilize it manually." Aaron looked at the glowing core visible through a viewport. His instinct screamed to move, to act. "I'll do it," he said without hesitation. Jace grabbed his shoulder. "No, Aaron. It's too dangerous." Aaron shook his head. "If we don't, the station could be destroyed. I've done worse to survive. I can handle this." Lyra stepped forward. "I will guide you. Your knowledge of human courage is required, but I will instruct you on alien systems. We act together." They descended toward the reactor chamber. Sparks flew around them, alarms blared, and the station shook with every raider attack. Aaron's hands were steady, even as his heart raced. Lyra's calm presence beside him was grounding. Inside the reactor chamber, the air was thick with heat and electricity. Panels glowed, showing dangerous fluctuations in energy. Aaron followed Lyra's instructions, adjusting controls with careful precision. Each movement was critical. The reactor pulsed dangerously. Aaron felt the heat through his gloves. Sweat poured down his face. He adjusted the energy flow, redirected power from auxiliary systems, and stabilized the primary core. Lyra guided him every step, correcting mistakes instantly. Outside the station fought off the raiders. Explosions rocked the hull, but automated turrets and alien defenses held. Kalen and the guards defended corridors, ensuring raiders did not reach critical areas. Inside, Aaron and Lyra continued their work. Time felt stretched, every second heavy with risk. Finally, the reactor began to stabilize. The pulsing light steadied. Sparks diminished. The hum of the station returned to normal. Aaron exhaled, exhausted. Lyra placed her hand briefly on his shoulder. No words, just acknowledgement. They had survived. Together. Outside the viewport, the raider ships retreated once again. The station was battered but still alive. Humans and aliens had worked together, instincts and logic, blending to save the station. Aaron looked around the reactor chamber. Jace, Kalen, and Lyra stood beside him. No one spoke immediately. Words were unnecessary. Survival, courage, and cooperation had said enough. Varro appeared on a screen. "Your actions today have proven that humans' instincts can complement alien logic. The station owes its survival to these choices." Aaron smiled faintly. "Guess my instincts weren't useless after all." Lyra said nothing, but her eyes conveyed respect and acknowledgement. For the first time, Aaron understood a little about the alien mind. They were not without emotion, but their way of showing it was different, and now she had accepted him, in some small way. The station would need repairs, and the raiders would return. But Aaron knew something essential had changed. Humans were no longer just observers or captives. They were part of the defense, part of the life of the station. And in this strange, cold galaxy, that meant everything. The station hummed with cautious activity. Repairs were underway, and wounded aliens and humans moved slowly through corridors, assisted by medical drones. Aaron walked alongside Jace and Kalen, exhaustion heavy in his limbs. Every muscle ached, but there was no rest until the station was secure. Lyra approached, staff glowing softly. Her eyes were calm but serious. She guided them to a chamber where the reactor core was visible through a reinforced viewport. The core pulsed steadily, but the readings on the control panels showed instability. Another attack could push it over the limit. Varro appeared on a floating screen. The core will not hold for long if systems fail again. Manual stabilization may be required. One individual must enter the core and ensure energy flows remain balanced.
Aaron's chest tightened. He had been there before, stabilizing the reactor during the last attack.
The thought of entering the core again, with the knowledge of what could happen, made his stomach twist. But instinct, duty, and the memory of those depending on him pushed him forward. "I will go," Aaron said firmly. Jace grabbed his arm. "No, Aaron, you just did this." "You're not going in alone." Aaron shook his head. "It has to be me. I know the system. If we fail, the station dies. We can't risk anyone else." He looked at Lyra. "Will you guide me?" Lyra's eyes softened, just slightly. "I will. Your courage is unusual. It may be what saves us all." They prepared to enter the reactor chamber. The path was dangerous, the corridors still unstable. Sparks fell from overhead conduits, and the air smelled of burning metal. Alarms blared faintly in the background. Kalen and Jace followed closely, ready to assist if needed. Inside the chamber, the heat was intense. Annals glowed with energy readings that changed rapidly. The hum of the core was louder than any sound Aaron had heard, vibrating through the floor, through the walls, through him. Lyra guided him through the alien controls, her voice calm and measured. "Redirect power to the secondary stabilizers. Slowly. Do not rush," she instructed. Aaron's hands moved over the panels, adjusting dials, rerouting flows, and monitoring energy pulses. Sweat poured down his face. His fingers ached, but he did not stop. Every second mattered. Outside the station shook. The raiders were regrouping, firing at the hull intermittently. Alarms indicated minor breaches, and automated defenses engaged the intruders. Every corner of the station was a battlefield. Yet Aaron remained focused on the reactor. Survival depended on his actions. Hours passed in tense silence. Aaron followed Lyra's instructions carefully. Sometimes instinct told him to act faster, to adjust without hesitation, but he trusted her guidance. Together, they stabilized power flows, balanced energy pulses, and reduced fluctuations. The core's glow steadied gradually. Jace and Kalen worked outside the chamber, repairing minor breaches and defending against raider scouts who had managed to board the station. Their teamwork allowed Aaron and Lyra to concentrate fully on the core. At one critical moment, an energy surge threatened to overload the system. Aaron hesitated, fingers hovering over the controls. Lyra's calm voice broke through the tension. "Trust yourself. Your instincts have led us this far. Now act." He adjusted the flow, guided by both instinct and her advice. Sparks shot from a nearby panel and the floor shivered beneath him. Then, slowly, the core's pulse stabilized. The hum returned to a steady rhythm. Alarms quieted. Aaron leaned against the panel, breathing heavily. Lyra watched him silently, the faintest flicker of a smile in her eyes. No words were needed. Their cooperation had saved the station. Suddenly, the viewport alerted them to movement outside. A raider ship had breached the station's outer defenses. It approached the reactor section. Aaron's chest tightened. If the raider reached the reactor directly, all their work could be undone. Without hesitation, Aaron moved to reinforce the chamber's shields. Lyra assisted, guiding him through alien systems he barely understood, but could follow with her calm instructions. The shields glowed bright blue, absorbing the incoming energy beam from the raider ship. The chamber trembled but held. Jace and Kalen engaged the raider intruders outside. Explosions shook the corridors. Smoke filled the air. The station was under siege again, but Aaron remained focused. Every adjustment he made counted. Finally, the raider retreated, leaving the station battered but intact. The reactor core was stable. Systems hummed normally. The crew inside the station could breathe again, even as exhaustion weighed heavily on everyone. Aaron slumped to the floor, muscles trembling. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder briefly. Her eyes met his. No words, only acknowledgement. He had risked everything, and she understood the significance. Varro appeared on the floating screen. Human courage and instinct have been essential. Your species may now be considered for integration into the Galactic Alliance. Aaron smiled faintly, exhausted but relieved. Guess all those small gestures and instinctive choices weren't useless after all. Lyra said nothing, but Her eyes held something that resembled respect and acknowledgement. For the first time, Aaron felt a connection, brief but real, with someone of another species. Outside, repairs continued. The raiders had not returned yet, but the station's crew prepared for the possibility. Humans were no longer just observers. They were part of the defense, part of the station's life. Every choice, every act of courage mattered now. Aaron realized that survival was not just about instinct or strength alone. It was about loyalty, cooperation, and heart. And for humans, that heart could change the fate of worlds. Lyra, standing beside him, represented the bridge between instinct and logic, between species and between fear and courage. The station would need continuous repair and vigilance. The raiders would return, stronger and more determined. But for now, they had survived, and humans had proven their worth. And in the vast emptiness of space, that was more important than any battle or any rule. The station floated silently in the darkness of space. Repairs continued steadily, and most systems were functional again. Aaron sat quietly in the observation room, staring at the distant stars. His body was bruised and sore, but his mind was alert. He had survived attacks, stabilized the reactor, and helped defend the station. Yet, a part of him wondered what lay ahead. The raiders had retreated for now, but they would return. Lyra entered quietly, her staff casting a soft glow. She did not speak immediately. She watched Aaron for a long moment, as if measuring something inside him. Finally, she spoke. The Council has decided. Humans will be allowed to remain on the station and may participate in further defense efforts. Your actions have proven your species' worth. Aaron's eyes widened slightly. You mean integration? He tried to keep his voice steady, but excitement slipped through. Humans will be part of your alliance? Lyra nodded. Not fully yet. But your species is no longer ignored. Your courage and instinct have earned consideration. Jace joined them, relief in his expression. We did it, Aaron. We actually did it. Aaron smiled faintly, still feeling the weight of exhaustion. We survived today, that's the start. There will be more challenges, but at least we have a chance. Days passed. Aaron recovered, slowly regaining strength. The station continued repairs. Raiders had not returned, but reconnaissance satellites showed movements of unknown ships far in the distance. The threat was never gone, only delayed. Lyra began to interact with Aaron more directly. She taught him subtle aspects of alien technology, guiding him with patience. They communicated in a combination of speech and gestures, bridging the gap between instinct and logic. One day an alert came from the reactor chamber. Aaron's heart sank. The reactor's readings showed fluctuations that could not be ignored. Without hesitation, he moved toward the chamber. Lyra followed, staff glowing softly to illuminate the corridor. As they reached the chamber, a small panel slid open with a signal. Aaron froze. The message was unexpected, a faint, irregular pulse from inside the reactor core itself. It indicated someone, or something, was alive inside the sealed chamber. The readings were faint but unmistakable. Aaron's mind raced. Could it be him? Lyra's eyes met his. The core's containment has altered human physiology. You are safe, but the individual inside has been in suspended state. Aaron felt disbelief, then hope. I'm still alive? Lyra nodded. You were preserved. The energy pulse interacted with your biology, slowing time within your body. The Council has monitored you. He stepped forward, hand trembling slightly. The viewport shimmered, and he could just make out a faint human form, resting but alive. The feeling of relief washed over him. Every moment of fear, pain, and courage had led to this. The chamber doors opened slowly. Aaron entered with Lyra guiding him. He approached the human form. Lyra adjusted the controls, and the suspended state slowly released. Aaron's eyes filled with tears as he realized he was fully alive again. He sat up, weak but conscious. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. You survived against all odds. Your instincts, courage, and heart saved you. Aaron smiled faintly, still processing the reality. I guess all those small choices mattered after all. Every instinctive move, every act of courage, it led me here. The Council observed quietly. Varro appeared on a screen, voice calm but full of gravity. Human biology has proven adaptable. Your actions, both instinctive and deliberate, have shown the potential for human contribution to the galaxy. Your species' inclusion will be considered carefully. Aaron stood, feeling strength returning to his limbs. Jace appeared beside him, eyes wide in disbelief and relief. They exchanged a silent nod. Together, they had survived impossible odds. Lyra stepped forward. For the first time, her expression softened fully. She extended her hand, and Aaron took it, shaking slightly. No words were needed. Recognition, respect, and understanding passed between them. Humans and aliens, instinct and logic, courage and calculation, everything had led to this moment. Outside the station, the stars glimmered with distant lights. The raiders remained a threat, their unseen master watching from afar. But within the station, humans were no longer merely visitors or captives. They were participants, defenders, and survivors. Their heart, courage, and instinct had proven their place in the galaxy. Aaron looked out at the stars and felt a deep sense of purpose. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but he knew humans could face it. Instinct and heart combined with cooperation and courage could change destinies. The journey was far from over, but now hope and survival walked together. Lyra watched him, calm and attentive. She had seen many beings in her time, but humans, especially Aaron, courage was not just strength. It was choice, heart, and resilience. And now she understood that humans were capable of shaping the fate of worlds. The station would need vigilance. The raiders would return, more determined and stronger. But humans were no longer helpless. They were ready, instinctive, and brave, capable of standing alongside the galaxy's mightiest. And for the first time, Aaron felt that humanity's place among the stars was not just possible, it was inevitable. Far beyond the station, unknown raider ships reported back to their unseen master. The information was clear. Humans were a threat, unlike any species encountered before. Adaptive, courageous, unpredictable, and now they had seen their first real proof. Inside the station, Aaron, Jace, Lyra, and the crew prepared for the future. They had survived, learned, and grown stronger together. And the galaxy, vast and unforgiving, had taken notice of humanity's heart.